All right, Trumpets redrawing here, and looks like both players are on 2 power plus a lot of cheap plays. Though Darkest Hour missing Shadow Influence once again. They can find one though. They've got double Lost Scroll and then Quarry into a couple removal spells, which is a solid setup.
Yeah, it's not the most explosive hand if you draw a Shadow, but you have a lot of power to work with, and then that Quarry becomes really high leverage because you're going to be able to Lost Scroll a bunch. And then from there, Quarry can hopefully pick up something that's powerful that you can play pretty quickly.
Do you like keeping Zoe there?
I do.
Yeah. Darkest Hour did, it looks like, elect to as well.
It's only arguably better if you have non-depleted Shadow on top of the deck, and even then, I don't even think it's that big of an improvement.
Looks like Darkest Hour actually did bin the Zoe, so they were just going to try to spike the Lost Scroll equity there.
Just you get to draw that card that's on the top of your deck anyway. So the only thing that changes is if you draw undepleted Shadow, you get to play a Lost Scroll that turn, and that seems such a low probability thing against just having a Zoe floating around.
Trumpets not really getting ahead on board, but Darkest Hour is taking their turn off here. So I would say that even though both players probably have had a frustrating game here, they'd rather save that for the finals. And now Darkest Hour drew the Shadow Influence, so it was just really like a one-turn hiccup essentially there, because now they're going to get back into it with double Lost Scroll.
Right. Yep, they stumbled a little bit, but now a lot of power to work with, and still Quarry at the ready, Hidden Road Smuggler, so a lot of things to do now with all the power they have access to. Trumpets
does get to get on board here with the Regent's Tomb first, though, if they want to. It looks like they're just going to go Statuary Maiden and a power, and try to set up a bit of pressure here. Slay from Darkest Hour hits the Statuary Maiden, and are they going to smuggle here? This is where not keeping the Zoe kind of, you pay the price.
Yep. It's just, the game is, in my opinion, rarely played on a fast enough timeline to justify just not taking Zoes when you have the opportunity.
All right, so Trumpets is actually at fewer power than Darkest Hour now, so they're not hurting too badly. They can still play most of their things, but they really want to get to Telut mana. If they can get to Telut and just smash that, that would be a significant advantage.
Yeah, and that's, I think, part of the reason, why not play Regent's Tomb? I think there's a couple things going on here. One is Regent's Tomb is kind of an ineffectual play here if they follow up with Rizon. Gotta be worried about that. The other is, I think, generally speaking, Trumpets wants to have as many units on the table as possible. So if and when they get to Telut, it's just ready to go.
Yeah.
If you play a Regent's Tomb and they kill your one thing, now you have this Telut in your hand that you're going to have to wait a turn on for it to be able to do anything, and it's so likely to just die. And the difference between Telut getting one hit off versus 0 is so huge that I think it's worth kind of delaying the Regent's Tomb a little bit to try to ensure that you have a unit ready to go when you draw your 7th power.
Trumpets here just playing Avara and passing. They had a lot of options there. Darkest Hour really getting that Quarry value, playing their Avara for 3, though I guess if they're playing a Vanquish, it doesn't actually change a whole lot. And, well, we got a Vanquish. Well, the Vanquishing is good here. There's no real reason not to. Trumpets still on 6, but now they have Display of Ambition, so if they want, they can pick up a couple of units here. They can. It looks like they're going to lead by slaying Vara, and then wouldn't be surprised to see Red Canyon Smuggler also. Oh, they're just going to pass. They want to cast Display of Ambition.
Yep.
Well, looks like Darkest Hour is going to run their own Display of Ambition, picking up their Vara, which is going to keep growing, because remember, it keeps those buffs, and a Hidden Road Smuggler here. Vara comes down. Well, we're getting towards the end game here, and Trumpets has more plays here. Looks like Darkest Hour decided not to play that Seed of Glory. A lot of players keeping the extra power in their hands. I'm always of the opinion that you should be aggressive when playing power versus not.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of get it here with the Hidden Road Smuggler already in hand. Kind of depends on what you have aspirations to go get, but often in these spots I feel like the stuff you want to pull out of your market is so expensive anyway that you kind of just need to keep making power drops.
All right. A Smuggler from Trumpets here. If they want, they can exchange Zoe for Vanquish, and they choose to do that and just take out that Vara. Really not good business letting Vara hit you if you can avoid it. Hidden Road Smuggler from Darkest Hour. We could see the Telut landing here, Depends how much Darkest Hour wants to get rid of it. Oh, looks like Darkest Hour is going to be satisfied with this, but if you can land a Talut hit, you end up with just that 2 extra power matters so much.
Yeah, this game, this matchup just feels like it so frequently comes down to the first person who's in a position to make multiple plays in a turn. That really gets amplified with Display of Ambition too, because that's the, get back 2 things and do something this turn. So, this is, yes, Darkest Hour has an answer ready to go with Harsh Rule, but the damage is already done to some extent.
Wow, not blocking there with the Smuggler might signify that Darkest Hour is not intending to cast Harsh Rule, and it looks like instead they're just going to vanquish Talut, but they still have a 6/6 Smuggler to deal with here.
Yeah, I always get some nerves here of getting a Harsh Rule and just sitting on it for a turn because of this.
Roland's Tomb leading to Sabotage here. They don't see the Rizon, so Trumpets doesn't know that the Regent's Tomb's days are numbered, but can take Harsh Roll, then play a Vara, and then just be really far ahead.
I mean, we're looking at, Darkest Hour needing to chump block with Rizon next turn. Just too much, just too much damage coming across.
All right, and there goes Vara. Rizon taking out the Regent's Tomb there. Oh no, gonna take out Vara with the help of a torch.
Yeah, you got it. There's more immediate demands here.
Regent's Tomb does get to start accumulating advantages though here. If you can land a Swear Vengeance on a 6/6 Hidden Road Smuggler, that gives you a really good setup for later in the game.
Yeah, again, the Swear Vengeance is the hardest thing to get going here, because getting to your turn with a unit and Regent's Tomb in play is not trivial. The upside is really high, so typically, if you can actually do it, you should just do it.
Rizon choosing, electing not to chump block the Hidden Road Smuggler, and then Red Canyon Smuggler comes out. We might be recycling Zoes here. I don't think Trumpets has another answer to Rizon in their market currently. Well, let's take a look. Yeah, they don't currently. They have a Defiance, so they're gonna. Looks like Trumpets is just playing for the short game here. They're trying to end the game fast enough that this Defiance just locks down the Rizon for a turn. Right,
and if if Darkest Hour has Harsh Rule right here, not a big deal, because now your loss is coming off the turn.
Ooh, the Regent's Tomb for Sabotage does actually stop the Defiance play from happening, and that means that Rizon can attack the Regent's Tomb here, but that still leaves Darkest Hour, I think, just straight up dead.
Right, you have a torch for the blocker, and then
you attack for
10,
15.
Yeah.
So, looks like Trumpets is going to force a game 3 here. And that'll do it. Trumpets wins game 2. The players are going to go to game 3 playing very high stakes game. 1 game of Eternal for $1,000 here. And that's in addition to all the other prizes they've won, but you're still playing a game for $1,000. That's still very high stakes.
Yeah, I mean, both players are probably pretty relieved that the big part of this is over. They've qualified for the World Championships. That's the goal. But still, 1 game for $1,000. You've been playing all day in some really stressful spots, I'm sure. And you got to be able to focus in for 1 more. It's tough. Like, these are long days, and for Darkest Hour particularly, having to disrupt their sleep schedule, wake up very early. You have this mixture of exhaustion and being amped up in these sort of spots that can be disruptive. So you really got to settle in for this last one.
Yeah, this is not a matchup that's easy to play. There is a lot of just micro decisions. Like, yes, it may not seem hard to just like point slay at their creatures and vanquish something else or whatever, but you get punished 7 turns later for what you smuggled away. With the way you sequence your power can matter. Whether you use how much you use Zoe for, like all of it matters.
I mean, we've watched plenty of games today where someone, let's say, elected not to play a power because of smuggler considerations, and then there were cascading consequences of them being behind a power for 3 or 4 turns. So, and also the margin for error. The cards in these decks are so powerful that if you stumble, if you don't line the right thing up at the right time, like, you might not be able to catch up. That's part of it too. So I think these matchups have a lot of play to them, and there's a lot of both strategic and tactical things to be considering all the time.
Alrighty, it looks like we're ready to play here. And so we'll head down to the match. Alrighty, welcome to the finals here of our Eternal Championship qualifier. I'm Luis Barnes here with Patrick Sullivan. We're watching these two Ambition players play to see who wins $1,000, or rather who wins $1,000 more. It's 2,000 versus 1,000 in the finals of this tournament. And looks like Trumpets is without something to do on turn 2.
This is, the smugglers are nice, but you really want to pair with Zoe to have just kind of enough extra stuff to be doing the churn.
Yeah, whoever draws Zoe or more Zoes and has the time to deploy them is going to be ahead. And currently, Darkest Hour being on the play with a Regent's Tomb is a good place to be. It's always a shame when you have to market away something like to loot, but I'm afraid that is what has to happen here.
Yeah, we're a long ways away from that.
Vara comes down. Just it is a good practice to have more pressure in play. In a kind of like the Regent's Tomb mirror here.
Yeah, when you have a site, when you have reason to suspect your opponent has a site as well, just a premium on having as much stuff going on as possible to make sure that the site can't run away with the game.
Trumpets here, they have the option of trading off smugglers, and they do. Let's see what their next turn brings. They can slay, but that just leaves them in a position where... Well, actually, that leaves them in a position where Sabotage from Darkest Hour will miss off of the Regent's Tomb.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you think it's close, there's very good chance that Darkest Hour here got a Roland's Tomb and get the one spell out of your hand, so at least that part doesn't do anything.
And then now you can fire back with your own Regent's Tomb, or you can play a Smuggler this turn, though. I like just playing the Regent's Tomb, because it also, if it survives next turn, if it survives a Rizon, then you get to Lingering Influence and make sure you hit your power drop. Oh, looks like Trumpet's actually just going to go for the Lingering Influence now and assume that their Sabotage will still be good next turn. Yeah,
because they're, the spells that the Ambition deck has largely are removal spells. So if you don't have a unit in play, the same thing's going to happen the next turn. And I think that the number one concern from Trumpet's side is I need to make sure that I get a power, because if this gets hit with Rizon, I need to at least, that's the thing that I need to get. That's the most important thing.
Treasure Trove turns into a Martyr's Chains here, which might just get sabotaged away. We'll see what Trumpets decides to do here. Darkest Hour could also Display of Ambition here, which I think that makes a lot of sense. Though, if you're going to go down this path against the Sabotage, I think there's some argument for getting something other than Martyr's Chains.
Yeah, there's no real incentive to just put this out there, because once it's Sabotage, it's gone. I mean, that you lose that element for the rest of the game.
Looks like there weren't a lot of non-sabotageable options here, but
fair.
I do think that that maybe just Merchant Go might have also done the trick.
Yeah, you have the option of just getting nothing. So.
All right, Martyr's Chain's down off the Sabotage. The Trumpets is not in great shape. They're missing power drops here, and that does end up mattering. Darkest Hour is going to be able to play like Vara plus Hidden Road Smuggler next turn. There's no power in the market to go get, so Trumpets may be in a spot of picking up like a Defiance out of the market. Exchanging Display of Ambition for Defiance, that's like usually the opposite of the way you wanted to go.
And also, especially when the Swear of Vengeance is going to be now fired off.
Yeah, the Hidden Road Smuggler now
makes that Defiance play even uglier.
Though, if Darkest Hour doesn't play removal to take out the Hidden Road Smuggler, you might not even need to use the Defiance. So it looks like Darkest Hour is picking up Avigraft, shutting off future Hidden Road Smugglers. But the Defiance is going to work out okay here.
Well, but
yeah, that Swear of Vengeance does matter.
It's putting more pressure on. What you're getting next turn, you're just getting your Swear of Vengeance to fire off for nothing. So that isn't intrinsically good, but it does, threaten potentially all the agendas filling up if you can find an answer, or at least a blocker to the Smuggler.
Though, Elias the Broken Wing's coming out for Darkest Hour too. Getting Regent's Tomb on the board first does actually matter quite a bit. Red Canyon Smuggler. Pick up a Vanquish maybe? Again, trading Displayer to loot. Oh, looks like a Boar.
Yeah, Boar the Avigraph.
Yeah, get your flyer here. Alright, but that Valkyrie not really going to be able to fight against Elias the Broken Wing. It does make it more likely that you get your own Elias the Broken Wing, though. Here comes Statuary Maiden. Oh, that's a good play. Playing Statuary Maiden and then forcing the block here gives Darkest Hour access to a cudgel. Darkstar really doesn't want to put that cudgel on Elias, though. Otherwise, Display of Ambition can snap it off quite nicely. Still, Statuary Maiden it breaks the Elias mirror, as it were.
Yeah, you get to parry your Vanquish, and then it's just done for.
And so I think Trumpets is in quite a bit of trouble here. Display of Ambition can't kill anything on the board, doesn't have a whole lot of options, and Darkest Hour is ahead both on cards and board position. Since they get the first move here.
Not even a great attack to be made here.
No, and taking a look at Trumpet's Void, do they have? They have a Hidden Road Smuggler and another Hidden Road Smuggler. Part of the reason maybe they needed to kill that Avagraft was otherwise their Display of Ambition also doesn't get anything out of the Void, but not a whole lot of useful options here. Vanquish is going to hit Elias the Broken Wing. Not going to revenge thanks to that Statuary Maiden.
Yeah. Yeah, Darkest Hour just with a lot more kind of... Besides having the superior hand, superior resources, Elias is going to be unchecked. The revenge is going to matter. The Smuggler with revenge still floating around. Just kind of has a major implied advantage in the long term on top of everything else.
Right. That is still sitting there like a time bomb, just waiting. And now Trumpets can use Display of Ambition to kill that Statuary Maiden thanks to the cudgel, but that still leaves them behind an Elias, a 7/8 Vara, a Zoe of the Endless Horde, a Vanquish, and another cudgel, with not a whole lot coming from Trumpet's side. And next turn, maybe they're drawing a Slay. They did see a Slay. Looks like they're gonna get back their 2 merchants here, or smugglers rather. So they're gonna. They don't even have quite enough power to get Martyr's Chains going. Maybe they can string together some kind of loot thing, but I really don't see that happening.
Not that kind of time. Not that kind of time. And I like the play there of putting the cudgel on the Statuary Maiden there too, because if Trumpet's last card in hand is a Display of Ambition they're willing to use in that spot, knock yourself out. You know, at that point, Darkest Hour's advantage is just overwhelming against no cards in hand.
Vanquish hitting Elias the Broken Wing here. And at this point, Trumpet's going to have a hard time winning the game if none of the revenge cards hit. And and if they do, then the game's completely over. Though, I don't really see how they get out of this either. Trading 2 units for a Statuary Maiden is not going to be the way. Vara's going to take Trumpets down to 10. Darkest Hour here, replete with cudgels, and get to play Zoe. Slay's going to hit the Zoe. And then Vara's going to come over for lethal with the cudgels?
Seems very likely. I mean, if you Slay here, 1 card in hand, and it's not even a big loss if you should happen to have a removal spell as your last card, you got to go for it.
Bam. Cudgel. And cudgel. And at this point, no incentive to over-cudgel. In comes Vara, 4-11. That's going to lead Darkest Hour to winning our Eternal Championship qualifier, taking home $2,000, an invite to the Eternal World Championship, and is the last Eternal player standing here at 9 in the morning. You know, their local time, having started at 3 in the morning. But, you know, when you win the tournament, you got to feel good.
Congratulations. Like to see that kind of ambition rewarded.
It
is not a trivial thing to be waking up at that hour, grinding all weekend long. Then you're one of 64 players playing in a single elimination tournament. It's so easy just to lose the first or second round and just like, what did I just do? You know what I mean? But for able to ride the whole thing out, get a slot of the World Championships, win the whole thing, $2,000 on top of everything else. Congratulations, well deserved.
And congratulations to Trumpets as well for winning $1,000 and a slot at the Eternal World Championship. So both players taking home quite a mighty haul. Of course, the rest of the top 4 still, you know, they win $500 each, and then the top 8 wins $250 each. So they take home some prizes and a bunch of Eternal Championship qualifier points, which qualify them for help qualify them for the showdown at the end of the qualifying season here. So if you made top 4, top 8, top 16, you know, you still have a shot of playing in a much smaller field tournament in order to pick up that qualification. Saw a lot of cool decks here today, a lot of ambition as well. You know, have to kind of recognize that, and it was just some pretty good games.
Yeah, I think I thought that you can certainly make the critique that there was a lot of ambition, and would it be nicer to have a more diverse field of decks? For sure, but I would be hard pressed to complain about the games we watched.
Right.
A ton of interaction, really back and forth, a lot of dramatic moments over the course of the game, over the day, and also just the play mattered. Like,
Yeah.
we came back to the booth, and often the player that lost a particular match, we were saying it was really rare that we were like, there's nothing they could have done,
Right.
and much more commonly like. And some of it was in the minutia of things like whether or not you're playing a power or holding a power, or what are you getting out of the market out of this particular spot? Are you playing 3 or 4 turns ahead, anticipating a sabotage off of Regent's Tomb? The games were very challenging, and at the end, I think we had 2 very well-deserved players squaring off in the finals, and congratulations to all the competitors.
Yeah. So for myself, Patrick Sullivan, Michael Jacob on production, Sam Stelter on production, and everyone here at Direwolf, thank you for watching. We're going to go ahead and raid someone. We'll find an undeserving Eternal stream, one of the friends of Direwolf to raid, I'm sure. But that'll do it for us this weekend. Thanks again for watching. We're going to be getting some of the deck lists published, though the top 64 doc, I believe someone already posted it on Reddit, so you can take a look there. And thanks again for spending some of your weekend with us. And congratulations again to the 2 players who qualified for our World Championships. See you next time.